Welcome everyone. Jenna Graham.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the New College Dashboard Buffet. As you see that I'm prepared, I've got my hairnet on, though it's maybe not perfectly because I want to let you see some of my curls. I've got my ladle to dish up the most fresh dashboards for you using the freshest and the cleanest data for these dashboards for you. Just a little bit about myself. I have been a data chef for about 5 years, and I've trained in the Advanced Analytics Certificate Program, well known just like the Cordon Bleu program, as well as I did some on-the-job learning working in New College. And just to point out, I'm not with UTO, but they provided this lovely dashboard or background for me, so that's why you see their logo on the slides. But again, this is Chef Jenna Graham, and we're gonna get right into this lovely buffet for you. I'm gonna put down my ladle so I can click the button, but save your questions until the end, or I might have to use the ladle on you, okay? All right, just kidding, I'm nice. Okay, so in case you're wondering, who is this presentation intended for? Any level of data user could utilize this dashboard, whether you're just a person who's come to look and see. Was that a question? No,
They're not seeing your slide presentation if you've started it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I apologize for that. Make sure I share the right screen with you. Okay, now we can get into it. Is everyone seeing the presentation?
Looks good.
Okay, I see thumbs up from Luis. Thank you. All right, now you can see that you are in the New College Dashboard Buffet. And as we move on, like I said, this dashboard presentation is for this buffet is for everyone, in whatever level of data user you are. Okay, so getting into our menu for today, what I'd like you to know is the goal here is to basically show you commonly distributed reports that are either distributed via email or that are used on analytics or in studio and how I visualize them. Just to note, some of these dashboards that you'll see on the menu today do have counterparts on ASU Analytics, but typically these dashboards at New College predate many of them. And I've been using them for a couple of years, so they are tailored specifically to the folks that are using them, which typically are New College's dean, administrative team, our academic directors, faculty, and staff. But as you can see, we've got some appetizers for you. We've got the student profile platter dashboard. We have our classroom scheduling salad dashboard. And when we move on to our main course, we have our admissions cuisine sampler dashboard, our retention ravioli dashboard, and we've got 2 desserts for you, which will be the knowledge enterprise Alamode dashboard, and then our frosted enrollment tracking dashboard. So I hope you're hungry and ready to eat. And we're going to get on into our appetizers first. Okay, so for our student profile platter that's coming up next, you don't have to count calories when you enjoy this platter. What you're going to see here is demographic data that are useful for those who need the quick facts, often for grant proposals, or reports, or presentations. I like to kind of refer to it as the whoop, there it is. You're just seeing really quick information. And so here we go into our student profile platter dashboard. And so at the top, what you can see here is just that quick information. Maybe the user just needs to know quickly how many students are enrolled, how many first generation students are in the college. I can't tell you how many times that's been asked, especially for things like for a grant or some type of proposal. How many Pell eligible students, underrepresented, and so on, as you can see across the dashboard. So up here up front, those quick facts to just get you going. This dashboard is often used by our research and development team, several faculty that need this kind of information quickly. As we move down the dashboard away from those quick facts, we can look and see a distribution of our students, that original number up here, but by our residency. As we move across the center of the dashboard, we can see where in the world our enrolled students are coming from. And so we can take a look at that. And as you hover over in the live dashboard, you would see some additional information about these different areas. As we move on, we can see the information. So we have the underrepresented minority information up top, but we can look more at what our breakdown is here. So we can see the distribution of really the percentage of our students that are in the different ethnic groups, as well as looking at our merit scholarships. And these lovely gumballs here are basically our distribution of our majors on the campus. And as we hover in the live dashboard, we'd actually get to see more information about these lovelies, including what percentage of these majors make up the total enrollment on campus. As we can see, we hover, we could see psychology is showing 8%. So 8% of all majors on the campus go to the belong to the psychology degree, so on. And then we've got our breakdown, our gender breakdown. And in this little nice donut chart, as we call it. So here you have just quick platter of student profile demographic information and to tell you the lovely ingredients inside. We're using the enrolled students data for retention, which is pulled in Studio and modified in Studio. The course schedule data, which is pulled and modified in Hyperion Studio, and then joined with the enrollment data in Tableau. We're also utilizing the lovely admissions master list CSV, which is downloaded from the admissions analytics site. And that's also joined with that in Tableau. And then the project level report, which is I have in Studio, which is where I'm pulling some of that data about first gen. All right. On to our next appetizer. We have our classroom scheduling salad. The original idea for this was to kind of look at the actual classroom usage versus the availability of classroom scheduling and space at a given time on our campus. However, the data needed to be able to do that just wasn't quite, and it's not quite there. So what we ended up doing more is at a glance look at just how classes are scheduled on our campus versus whether we're utilizing the time that we have. So here we have our classroom scheduling salad, and to the left, what you're seeing here is basically it's just a photo of when our regular standard times for classes are on the campus. And as we move across the dashboard, as we move right, we can see basically the capacity. So the capacity of class. So whether it's a lab or holds 26 to 40 students or 41 to 60, 61 to 80, and so on as you go down the list, and when that class is being offered. So how many labs are being offered on a Monday? Well, we have one. And then we go across at least an active lab Monday, Wednesday, and so on. And it looks like we have 22 labs that are offered across the week. As we move more to the right, we look at that capacity and we kind of heat map that so that we can see, okay, where I want to look specifically, where is my eye taking me? Where are we utilizing which classroom? And so we can see here, it looks like Tuesday, Thursday, the 26 to 40 is definitely the hotspot, though that's the classroom capacity that is being utilized the most. As we move down the dashboard, we can look at the actual class times during the week and see where are we utilizing, where's that happening? And so while we have totals in this one, we'll move over to the classes by time. That's kind of like a heat map table. And we can see, yeah, Tuesday, Thursdays, and it looks like from 8:30 to 1:30 is where we're filling, that's where we're scheduling the most. So it's not quite what we were hoping to do originally, but with the data that we had, we could at least get a look at, okay, This is pretty heavy. Thursday mornings, pretty heavy. Where can we possibly fill in other areas if needed? So let's see. The ingredients used, classroom scheduling data. And there is a classroom scheduling website that is now a part of analytics. We also utilize some wonderful ingredients from the Astra website, and also some classroom utilization reports from the lovely Bill Stimson. So now it's time to move on to our entrees. Hopefully you still have room, and we'll get into our admissions cuisine dashboard. So with this dashboard, portion sizes don't matter, as this dashboard utilizes several admission reports and also year-over-year data from admissions. Okay, so what we're looking at here is our deep fried admissions data. And this is our story. And with our stories, we typically will have tabs at the top that will allow the user to get to other pieces of the dashboard pretty quickly. So what we're looking at first is the new college admissions, just general information. This is familiar, basically the entire application cycle from applications all the way to enroll. The user can select between transfer admission information. If they want to do some enrollment summaries, we've got maps. If we want to look at our feeders, we can also not only look at New College, but we're also looking at West Campus as well, as the New College Dean is also the provost of the campus. And so vice provost of the campus, he has information and may want to see information about all of West Campus. We have maps. And also some student demographics. And though we do have master's data information in this dashboard, it is not as extensive as what is happening on the grad college analytics site. So we definitely have linked to that so that people can dive deeper into graduate data if they like. So you also notice on the dashboard to the left, we have our dashboard filters. And so we can select by campus, our 3 different departments or schools is what we call them in New College. And we can also look at student type and even look at the major. So we'll get a closer look here of that first dashboard. And we can see that we've got the 4-year trends here. So we can look at 2018 all the way to 2021, whether we want to look at the applications, admits, enrollment, and also enrollment deposit, and then how many students actually enrolled. So the first thing, we make sure we have that quick information. If you're just running out and you just need to know just the numbers, how are we doing as far as applications, admits? This is basically year-over-year data here. So if they want to take a deeper look.
Yeah, I knew it was coming for you soon because I thought ours were close together.
Okay. So,
because hers is like the day after you.
Ear. Is anyone else hearing someone in their ear? I am. So sorry about that. I'm going to give somebody the ladle though. Somebody's getting the ladle. Okay, so back to the dashboard. If they want to do more than just look at those the top information for where we're at year over year, they can look at the trends and kind of see and hover, rather than just hover, we have that information right up front. Although there are tooltips as you hover over in the live dashboard to give you additional information right up front, we can tell you year over year, okay, so in 2021, up 13% in applications, up 231 in students, and then the actual number of applications. And then we can go down to all the way to enrolled and see we're up 3%, up 14 students, and the total number for the current year. So if you are still hungry for a little bit more admissions information, we have our broiled admissions data, which we're looking at our maps to see where in the world are our students coming from. Again, those top numbers to just give you the quick facts. If you just want to know year over year, that stays constant throughout the dashboard. We do have on the left side, we are looking at first year students and where they're coming from, whether it's national or international. We also have our transfer students and where they are coming from. And again, on the left side of the dashboard, we are looking at, we can look at our current campus. We can look at what college these students are coming from. Since we're looking at West Campus, we can filter for whether we're looking at all colleges or just West. And at this point, we're looking at New College. And we can also look at some demographics for this dashboard, which we're looking at ethnicity. We can also narrow in on just select majors if we like, which they're all color coded here. So each dot is looking at a specific major. And as you hover over, you'd also see information, for example, for the high school, we're looking, you'd see information about how many students in each major are coming from the specific transfer school, for transfers in the high schools for high school. And it's the same with the map down here at the bottom. We're looking at where those students are coming from by country. If you select, if you wanted to just select one of the majors, if you clicked on it and then the live dashboard, you would only see that color light up on the map. And again, with the transfer students, we're looking at transfer institution and where they're coming from. So you would see that hover, as you hover over, you get that additional information. If you're still hungry for more, we have our chopped admissions. And this, and I guess a play on words, chops up our top feeders by where they're going to at ASU. So again, we still have that top row that stays constant. This time we're looking at not only New College, but we're looking at different colleges on West Campus and how those students are coming into the university. So if we look at the top, we're looking at FYS. And we're looking at transfers to the right. And here we're looking at what students, what high schools are coming from and how they're distributed across the campus. So we can see Moon Valley, for example, we've got 30% going to New College, another or 31% going to New College, 31% going to, looks like Health Solutions, and we got 6% going to Global Management, then another 31 going to WP Carey. So information there, and it's mirrored just the same with transfer students. So we can see the distribution of Glendale, Estrella, and any other students that are transferring in from a transfer institution and how they're distributing across the campus by college. We also can look, if we just want the numbers, we're not necessarily looking at the distribution, we can also just see the hard numbers of how many students are coming from each either high school or transfer institution. We do have, maybe we don't have filters in this one. I thought we did. Yes, we do. We can filter by application status. As you can see right now, we're looking at all application statuses. If we wanted to look at just applicants or just enrolled, we can go ahead and do that as well. So the ingredients that we're using for the admissions dashboards are those lovely weekly Thursday reports that we get from Troy and Ruben. And they have been formatted for Tableau and Power Pivot in Excel. Our pre-enrollment tracking dashboard, we're also utilizing that and just filtered it for West Campus and then downloaded it into Excel and manipulating and shaping that and washing and cleaning the data in Power Pivot and getting it ready for Tableau. And then we also are utilizing that admissions master list CSV, especially for the maps and for other demographic information. And they are all just joined in Tableau and cooked and simmered until ready. Okay, so moving on to the retention ravioli. We're going to look at retention data for New College. This is our oldest dashboard, which highlights really our first year students and how they're returning back to our college or back to ASU. So retention ravioli, you'll see something that is quite common across most of the dashboards where we do have those quick facts at the top. When you just need to get that quick information, how many students are in our cohort, how many students are re-enrolled. what percentage, how many students are not re-enrolled? And do we have any drops? Do we have any financial holds? And something that I love here is, what is our goal? How close are we to getting to that goal, the internal goal that we're looking for? And so right away, we can kind of see that most of the dashboard is color coded by these three colors here: the orange for dropped, not re-enrolled for maroon, and then our gold are re-enrolled. As we move down the dashboard, we're looking at our retention by college and can see how we're doing compared to our colleagues across the university. And as we hover over in the live dashboard, we would see additional information about each one of these colleges, typically going to be the percentage breakdown, how many of our students are out of our cohort are coming back. As we move across, we can see this map with these lovely diamond shapes, and each of these diamonds represents a student. And we can tell as they're distributed across the country, where are we having students come back and who are not coming back. So we can see, what is that, like Idaho and Utah, we've got a few students that are sprinkled across that are not coming back. And then the gold, where our students are coming back. As we hover over, we might see information about the student's major, their current major versus their original major, their 21st day major. We'll also see additional notes that come from advising or as well from their peer mentor and other information about the student. We also have retention to major. So we can see specifically retention to major by ASU. So not only are we looking at the retention to major, but we're also looking at how many students are enrolled in the major. So some of these visualizations are trying to tell multiple stories. Here's the retention, but also perhaps we want to know just overall how many students are enrolled in these different majors. And that's the same case here when we're looking at retention by ethnicity. Sometimes just looking at the percentage isn't enough. You want to know the scale that you're looking at as well. So we have that here where we can see on the y-axis, we're looking at the number of students enrolled, but then we can also see, okay, out of those cohorts, what percentage of them are coming back or not coming back? And are there any concerns that we have, whether it's a major, is there a major that's really just bleeding that we're not really seeing students come back from, or are we looking at any demographic groups, if we're looking here, that we're losing, that we're not bringing back? So as we move towards the center of the dashboard, we can look at the question of what percentage of our students who live on or off campus are coming back. So we can look specifically at, out of our students who live on campus, 90% of them are coming back. Out of our students that live off campus, we can see 93% are coming back. So looking at that to see, is there some outreach that needs to happen with those students that live on campus versus off campus, et cetera. And then we also have, as we move across the dashboard, our retention by CI band, which is a calculated index. And if those of you that may not be familiar with the calculated index, it's essentially a number that is calculated for first-year students based on their high school rank, GPA, test scores, et cetera, basically criteria off of their application. And the student is assigned a number. If a student does not have enough criteria to meet that to fit to make a number, then they just don't have an index. But ideally what happens is the higher that CI band, it's traditionally the student is less likely to have academic rigor or challenges as far as academics. The lower the number, the student is may potentially have academic rigor. And so what we can see here, we can kind of see the distribution of how many of our students fall into those areas. Traditionally in New College, we do tend to see that our students that are 107 below, that's our challenge area. That doesn't make up the bulk of our students, we can see. But we can also look at our students who have re-enrolled and not re-enrolled, and maybe start asking the question, why are these higher CI bands not re-enrolling? What conversations can we have with these students to see what's going on with them? Is it academic rigor, or is it more of a fit issue, or what? Why haven't these students re-enrolled when ideally the numbers are telling us that they shouldn't be struggling academically. Maybe it's something else. We also can see that 2 of those higher CI bands have dropped and start having conversations in that way. We can also, we also look at retention by our 3 schools, which is where all of our majors are housed. And so we can see how they're doing. And sometimes the directors of those schools like to kind of have a healthy competition go on and see how they can outdo each other, which doesn't hurt, right? To have healthy competition. We have retention by need level. And so we can see how our students are doing based on their financial need level, and then also retention by campus, so we can kind of see how we're doing compared to our sister campuses. So a little bit more on the retention dashboard. We got some zoodles for you. And in our zoodles dashboard, what we're looking at is our not re-enrolled dashboard. The retention cycle for the fall 2021 to spring 22 has just started. So it's still under development, which is why you see our retention, not re-enrolled retention dashboard from the fall 2020 to fall 2021 dashboard is what you're seeing here. This is why the numbers aren't matching at the top. I'm showing you an example from last fall's dashboard for this, this particular dashboard because the current one is under construction. But what you see here, the same numbers. In fact, I've even added more to the new dashboard. Each time I build a dashboard, I feel like it gets better, gets sweeter, gets richer. And so I add more to it or tweak different things, throw different ingredients in. So we added more to the top in this new dashboard. As you see, we don't have quite as much. But what we're doing here is focusing on, and particularly in this dashboard, the 71 students that are not re-enrolled. This is where we can do some visualizations here on the qualitative data. So like I said before, in the map on the previous dashboard, we can start to focus on the data that we're, the qualitative data that we get from our advising the team and from our peer mentors about why the students are telling us that they're not coming back. And so we can see here in this tree map, we've got some financial happening here, some personal, family, and financial reasons. We've got some COVID-19 related reasons. Here, 3 of them just said, it's fit, college isn't right for me right now. So we can kind of see that information. So when we're trying to figure out, well, where are all these students, what's going on, we have the qualitative information here. We also, as we move across the dashboard, can look at past due amount. We can see here, 54% of the students that are not re-enrolled don't have a balance, right? But then we do have some, we've got even one that, we've got 2 that owe more than up to between 2K, 10K and 2K, 20K. As we move across the dashboard, we can see academic standing. Again, we're just looking at those students who are not re-enrolled, so we can break down the distribution of how many of those students are on academic warning versus good standing, how many of those students have holds and what kind of enrollment holds do they have, retention by gender. So look a little bit at that. And then also a different look at the CI band. Like I said before, on the other page, it was a different visualization that was really showing us kind of the dropped and not enrolled and how many people just are in the total cohorts to kind of look at that. This one is looking at year over year rates for our CI band. And what we can see here, when we color coded, when we conditional format, we can see that 107 to the 108 and above is in the green because we do tend to retain higher those students, and then the 107 and below. And this has been constant for us, and we can see the year over year difference, whether we're up or down with retention in these groups. So once the year over year data are available, I'll start to change the visualizations within the dashboards, kind of based on, you know, where we're at in the retention cycle, excuse me. So early on, we want to look more at the drops and the total numbers. Once year over year data starts to come in, we'll tweak that and kind of modify the dashboard accordingly to what data is available and kind of where we are in the cycle. Moving back to the left side of the dashboard, we can look at a different look at academic standing. So here we're looking at our individual students What we wanted to do here is look at our college compared to other college. What percentage of our students are on that are not enrolled are on academic warning? So we can see ourselves here. Looks like 30% of those students that are not enrolled are on academic warning. And as we move across, we can look at not enrolled by state, and we can even look at our high school. You know, are we having some issues with retention by a specific high school? And here we've got 5 students from Agua Fria. What do we know about those districts, that area? And specifically last year with COVID, where these areas hit hard. And Avondale, where this high school is, was one of the areas that was hit hard. So starting to, you know, look at the retention data in different ways. Are you still hungry for more? Okay, we've got a little bit more. We've got our retention dashboard pizza data, which is our wonderful student swirl. This was created, the original student swirl was created about 5 years ago by our talented colleagues in the college. And what I've done is recreated that in Tableau for my college. And what this tells you essentially is the students, the starting major here to the left, and whether they return, what major they return to. So as we go across, we can see applied computing, 14 of those students. And if you hover over, you'd actually get the percentage of students returning to the major. We can see 2 of them came back to, they changed majors into applied computing, all the way to this one that is now in art animation. Okay, so, and here is a sample below of what the tooltip looks like. So this is for forensic science, where we can see 93% or 95 of those students that started in new college came back. And where's forensic science? Right here. And essentially 95. And then we can see as we go across what current major they're in. So thank you. That was one of the first presentations that I saw at the Data Conference many years ago, and loved it, and have recreated it in Tableau for my college. So what are we using? Gourmet Ingredients. We are utilizing the FTFYS cohort with current and enrollment status, which has been modified in Studio and Alteryx. This is also on the analytics site, but because I manipulate and add a lot more ingredients to that, I'm using it in Alteryx now. And what I've done is converted it into a user database, and that serves as the source for the dashboard. And I also have utilized that lovely admissions master list to pull in a lot of that rich demographic data. So ready for some dessert, okay? I've got 2 for you, even though I'm showing 3 up here, I have 2. Knowledge Enterprise Alamode. So this is utilized heavily by our college's research and development team, as well as our administrative teams. And what we're looking at here is we can look at our Knowledge Enterprise, basically our summaries. This is a story. And so they can select between proposals, award summary, or expenditures. There are filters on proposal status, department, whether their tenure track, and you can also filter by investigator and PI. And quick information at the top. Typically, when people are using these dashboards, they're needing information really quick. They don't want to have to dig deep. And so I'd like to put it right up there. Put the sprinkles right on top for them. In this case, the ice cream right on top, give them the information, how many proposals, how many are we down or up from last year, what's the percent difference? So all that's included there. An alternate view is the same. We're looking at proposals, but this time we can see a breakdown by the school or department. We can look at investigators, and as you hover over, you would see who those people are and get additional information. We do have some filters for proposal status, department recognized. You can even select investigator or PI. So what we're using, the ingredients we're using here are those wonderful Knowledge Enterprise pivot tables. Every couple of weeks, we get an email from Hansel letting us know it's ready. And so I download those into Excel and prep them for Tableau. And the HR data is pulled out of Studio or Alteryx, and then prepped in Excel for Tableau. Our frosted enrollment tracking dashboard is our last dessert. And what that is doing is taking the weekly enrollment tracking report, and we are looking in the top week-to-week comparison. We're looking at the first 4 weeks, 3 weeks of school. So the first week of school, which is week 0, 1 week after school, 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. And we can see we're comparing 4 years here, and we can see, okay, in fall 2020, which is gold, from the first week to from week 0 to the first week of classes, we added 12 students. When we went from week 1 to week 2, we lost 7. Week 2 to week 3, we lost 9. Okay, but let's see how that compares year over year when we're not necessarily looking at week to week, we're looking at the year over year trend. So in that same year, that first week, our enrollment was up 8%. Then we stayed up 8%, we were at 208. And then as we go on, we stayed at that 8%. And this is year over year. So we're looking at base versus 2017, we were up 3%. 2017 to 2018, or 2018 to 2019, up 10%. 2019 to 2018, up 8%. So that's what we're looking at in this dashboard versus the linear here. We're looking year over year. So what we're looking at here, what the gourmet ingredients we're using, the enrollment tracking report, which is in Studio, which is prepared in Excel for Tableau. We're also utilizing the admissions master list because as we hover over, we'll get some demographic data in there as well. All of this is joined in Tableau. And so what's next? Future menu items. What I want to do is move all of the dashboards to source from Alteryx and schedule automatic updates. That's what's happening now with the retention dashboard, which is the first one that I've transferred over to Alteryx, which I'm learning. Which is nice because they automatically update daily. I can schedule updates. So all these dashboards, only one of them is doing that now. So the goal is to move all of them. I also want to add the Ask Data feature to the dashboards, which allows the user to ask quick analytic questions with just natural language, and more filters and animations to kind of enhance the dashboard. So if you would like to contact me, here's how you can connect with me. At jenna.graham@asu.edu, and then also my phone number. Before we move on to questions, if there's any time, I do want to say thank you for eating at the Jenna New College Dashboard Buffet.